It has been a pretty crazy month and a half on YouTube. So much has went down with YouTube changes and the whole recent thing going on with views dropping. It's just been a crazy timeline. So I just want to go over the whole thing, especially now that YouTube has responded to a lot of the criticism that they've gotten over the last month or so. So let's start off at the beginning with the whole AI age verification thing. So this was implemented in August. And as you guys know, YouTube is going to be using AI to determine whether you are over or under 18. And if you're marked as under 18, you are going to be seeing a restricted version of the website. And the only way you can get normal YouTube back is if you give over an ID, credit card, or a video verification. Now remember that this change was actually implemented in the US on August 13th, 2025, and ever since then, and even a little bit before that, YouTubers have been noticing something pretty weird going on with their videos. YouTubers of all shapes and sizes have made videos talking about their views randomly dropping. They say that they haven't changed up the type of content that they've made, their channel hasn't been on a downswing, just all of a sudden, right around the time when YouTube started implementing the age verification update across the website, everybody's views just started going down. A lot of people started looking at their analytics and they started noticing a desync between the types of devices that are used to watch their videos and how those views are being counted, especially with the YouTuber named Strife doing a really good job in researching the analytics, and he found some pretty interesting numbers. At first, a lot of people, including myself, were a little bit skeptical of YouTube's restricted mode, and we believed that this was one of the main causes of why views are down. And a lot of people who were counter-arguing against us would say stuff like, oh, restricted mode has been around since 2010. It's not going to have an impact on your views right now. But the point that I believe that they were missing is YouTube's AI age verification might have been turning restricted mode on for people who they have marked under 18, which would result in them obviously not being able to see most of the videos on the platform. Here's an example of Bellular News showing how many videos of his were restricted versus not restricted, and the videos that were not restricted were getting way more views than the videos that were restricted. So as I mentioned, a YouTuber named Strife Hayes made a really good video where he was looking at YouTube analytics and he started noticing a few patterns in terms of the device types. He was looking at the data of a bunch of different YouTubers and they were reporting view drops in the exact same time in the exact same days. So it was just getting to the point where there's no way everybody coincidentally just stopped watching all these different YouTubers at the same time. Not to mention that the YouTubers were of various different genres, making different types of videos, or even from different countries. And so he made his video showcasing all the different types of people experiencing issues on YouTube, and he was basically saying that there's something weird going on. But he was actually met with some backlash from some skeptics, including a YouTuber named Spiffing Brit. Now, I just want to say that the interaction between these two was actually quite wholesome. They had a disagreement, and for the most part, it was kept pretty respectful. But Spiffing Brit, before he changed the title to his video, was actually just kind of going in on all the people complaining about the view drop, saying, yeah, we're overreacting. There's nothing going on YouTube. This is cyclical, meaning this happens every year. People just don't know how to look at YouTube analytics because they would, if they had, they would notice that views are always lower around that September mark. So he was pointing out video after video and basically saying, yeah, I think you guys are wrong. You guys are overreacting. This is just how YouTube is. And again, he pointed to restricted mode and he was saying that, oh, you know, like making jokes, oh, is this a new feature? Claiming that a lot of people were saying that it's a new feature. Fair enough, maybe people were, but I mean, for myself, I was making the point that restricted mode might be being more heavily implemented since YouTube's AI age verification. Not that it's new, I understand that it's been around since 2010. But yeah, at first his video was received pretty positively, but then he started getting a lot of backlash from other YouTubers basically saying, dude, the Strife Hayes dude showed a bunch of data that proves his point. You're kind of just talking and saying that he's wrong, you know? And so the main point that people were discussing is that views dropped, but a lot of the YouTubers who were saying their views have dropped said that their revenue actually stayed the same, which is really weird because obviously if your views go down, your revenue is going to go down regardless of whatever device it's from, right? Well, Spiffing Brit had a little bit of a rude awakening because it actually ended up that he was the one who was wrong. So Strife Hayes made a very respectful response video to Spiffing Brit, and he actually gave him credit and said, listen, I actually like this guy. We've met in real life. He's cool. I have no beef with him. We're all good, but I'm just going to tell you why I believe he's wrong. Again, this type of discourse I find very refreshing, especially on social media with all the egos out there. It's nice to see people who can just respectfully disagree and say, hey, you know, I think you're wrong because of this. Well, here's my data to back up that I'm not wrong. And so Josh did even more research and he actually found a desync between the correlation of device type views on the website. What does that mean? Okay, so basically he went over to the advanced mode in his analytics and he sorted them by device type. Now, normally throughout pretty much the entire history of YouTube, the device type correlation between how many views the videos get is pretty linear. Not the exact amount of views, but if you notice these trends in the graphs, whenever one device type peaks, normally the other device types peaks. Whenever they go down, the other ones go down. Well, he showed that around the August 10th 10th to August 13th mark on pretty much everybody's analytics, there was a desync where the desktop views specifically went down. Now, this is an anomaly. This type of stuff just never happens on YouTube. Like I said, normally the device types are pretty synced well in terms of if they're going up or down. So he was pointing out that this one happened to a bunch of long form creators, 2, views got dropped on August 10th, and 3, the disproportional drop from the computer views, the desktop views, right? So he was going through this data, and basically a lot of people are theorizing, and the conclusion is that YouTube is removing views that are coming from an ad blocker. And this theory makes so much sense because, as we discussed earlier, YouTubers were claiming that their revenue was exactly the same even though their views have dropped. And also remember that only the desktop views specifically, where everybody obviously uses ad block on a desktop, were going down, but they weren't going down on mobile, where obviously it's extremely hard to use an ad block on YouTube. Obviously way easier to do it on a computer. So this is a widely accepted theory at this point, and I honestly don't even really think it's a theory, especially because Mr. Moist himself made a video response to Josh Hayes basically saying that, yeah, he's right. Not only did his own analytics reflect exactly everything that Josh was saying, Critical also loosely said that YouTube actually even confirmed that what Josh said is correct.
Desktop views no longer being counted the same way they were prior. This led to a bit of a debate between him and the Spiffing Brit, where the Spiffing Brit, another huge channel, disagreed and believed that that was, you know, a bunch of malarkey, that was a bunch of fish paste. Josh Strife Hayes made a follow-up where he believed he uncovered even more evidence to support his hypothesis and believes he knows exactly the direct root cause, which is monetized views on YouTube not changing, but any views that use ad block were no longer being counted, which is why all the desktop views for channels across the platform were down for the most part, but revenue stayed the same. And to get into the spaghetti and the meatballs, he is 100% right, I believe. I shared that video with people smarter than me who ended up sharing that with YouTube directly. And they kindly requested to not share their direct feedback, but I believe I can mention that they confirm his hypothesis for the most part.
So as Critical explained, he basically indirectly contacted YouTube, and they essentially confirmed everything that Josh was saying, that there is actually a view drop because of ad block. And as I will show later in YouTube's actual response, they essentially confirm it in their own official blog post. I just wanted to give you guys a timeline of events so you guys know exactly what's going on with the whole AI age verification thing and the view drop and all this type of stuff. But now let's get into YouTube's actual response. So they made a post 2 days ago saying an update on YouTube view counts in restricted mode. Hi creators, we know seeing your view count drop is frustrating, especially when you can't pinpoint the cause. We've seen a lot of speculation that there is a connection between view count drops and features like restricted mode. Restricted mode represents only a small fraction of the daily views on YouTube. There has not been an increase in viewers using restricted mode, and this optional setting is not causing a drop in views. So they said the stuff that they've said earlier, where restricted mode has been around since 2010, it's off by default, its usage is very small. But this was the kicker, and I really wish they had specified this earlier. Maybe they did, maybe I missed it. But the reason why we were bringing up restricted mode to begin with is because we all thought, and rightfully so, that restricted mode was going to be implemented on accounts that were marked as under 18 by YouTube's AI age verification. They are saying that this is not the case. Restricted mode is completely separate from the age protection measures applied to accounts under 18. This would have been really nice to know like a month ago, but yeah, I'm glad that they clarified that at least. We also want to state plainly that we are not using AI to automatically enable restricted mode for viewers. That is not how the feature works. If you believe that your video has been incorrectly categorized, you can use this form, and this was a form that I've talked about before that YouTube seemed to kind of like tuck away a little bit, where you can actually appeal some of your videos if you feel like they've been wrongly restricted. All right, so now them addressing the view drop thing. When we get reports like these, our first step is to check for any technical issues or bugs. Our deep dive into many areas confirmed that our viewership systems are working correctly, so no bugs. There are many reasons that individual channels may see view fluctuations, but there is no systemic issue that is impacting creators. If your channel is experiencing a drop in views, this could be happening for a few reasons. Number 1, return to baseline. Some channels that had high performing videos that are now seeing viewership returns to their normal baseline. Yeah, this is not the case. This is not what is happening, because again, this is not a cyclical thing. This is not just something where everybody's views are just randomly dropping to baseline. It was something a little bit weirder. Seasonal viewing habits, again, we already debunked this. This has not been happening in September in any other year. This has only been happening this year. Now, YouTube actually addresses what actually happened. Viewers using ad blockers and other content blocking tools. Ad blockers and other extensions can impact the accuracy of reported view counts. Channels whose audiences include a higher proportion of users utilizing such tools may see more fluctuations in traffic related to updates to these tools. And then on platform competition, they could be watching other videos. Yeah, that is not the case. It's funny because out of all these 4 bullet points, this is the only actual real thing that is happening. Based on all the data that has been uncovered, thousands of verified creators confirming everything that Josh said, it all comes back to ad block. And as we all know, especially if you've been a viewer of my channel, YouTube's war on ad block has been going on for years, not months, years. YouTube will give you messages saying that ad blocks aren't allowed on YouTube. People have been reporting that their website has been slowed down if they use ads. They notice that their computers use a lot more memory if they have an ad blocker, almost like YouTube is trying to overload the website for some reason. And even a few months ago, the whole YouTube homepage looked blank with all the videos not showing up, and the only way to fix it is to turn off your ad blocker. So personally, I get it. YouTube is a business. I know they don't want ad blockers on the website so they can make more money, but at least with the whole view thing, they could have been transparent with this whole thing from the beginning. Just say, hey, we're starting to not count views that are coming from ad blockers because those are not going to be monetized views anyways. If you notice a drop in your views, that is why. Don't worry, your revenue will not be impacted at all. If they could just be transparent with the things that they do, there wouldn't have to be such a big uproar on YouTube every month or so where something like this always happens. I mean, it always happens, right? It happened with the AI age verification thing. It happened with removing dislikes. It happened with the view drop. It happens with all the UI changes. I mean, they just don't communicate anything properly. But regardless, I don't want to just keep crapping on YouTube. At least we found out the root cause of what's going on over here. Again, big shout out to Josh Strife Hayes for doing all this research on this, and for also getting in touch with all these different YouTubers so we can get a good sample size of exactly what's going on YouTube. But in reality, the mystery is solved. YouTube is basically just removing views off desktop when people are using ad blockers. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are on the situation in the comments. What do you guys think about YouTube's response? Do you guys think that they handled everything well? Please leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it and subscribe for more. See ya.